So this is going to be a long post alert, but I'm not sure if you guys have watched K Sally, which I'm going to refrain from saying the word. I will put in what I mean on Netflix, but I actually finished yesterday. Now, with this case, there are some conflicting views, with some people thinking that Sally was guilty, others thinking she was innocent. And the series is only 3 episodes long, so I think you should go ahead and check it out. I thought it was very well done, as opposed to other Netflix series. So I'm going to give you like a brief synopsis, but I want you to remember that most of this is from Sally's point of view. So, of course, we can't get her husband's point of view, but we'll go from there. So this incident happened February 14th, 1995 in Oceanside, California. And to your right, you have 29-year-old Ray McNeil. To your left, you have 34-year-old Sally McNeil. On Valentine's Day, Sally claimed she ended years of DV from her husband with 2 gunshot wounds. While stating that her intention was not to end the life of her husband, she just wanted the DV to stop. The question of who was really the aggressor in the situation will come out during her trial. Sally and Ray met in 1987 and married 2 months later. They were both in the Marines and part of the Armed Forces bodybuilding contest. And this is where they met actually in the bodybuilding contest. As you can see right here, this is both of them in the gym doing their thing, bulked up. So this is what attracted each other to them. They had a common thing that they liked, both being in the military, both bodybuilding. So also while bodybuilding, Sally got into wrestling and she enjoyed that because she made tapes where men would enjoy being wrestled by a woman and she would actually get paid for it. So during her wrestling days, she acquired the name Kay to go in front of Sally. Sally was previously married and she had 2 children by the name of Shantina and John. And so after being a single mother for, a couple of years, she was happy to have, Ray in her life so that he could be a father figure to her children. However, almost immediately after they became married, she claims that Ray became very aggressive. 3 days after their wedding, Sally claimed that Ray actually punched her and busted her lip. He apologized, however, nothing changed. In 1991, Ray left the military and he began to bodybuild full time, leaving Sally with all of the bills. She even illegally crossed over to Tijuana, Mexico to buy him steroids in order to enhance his bodybuilding results. And the use of steroids would end up increasing his aggression. Sally herself would begin to use the steroids also, so I'm sure it had an effect on her as well. So stay tuned for part 2. So this is part 2. In the addition to the DV that Sally suffered, she also claimed that her husband was cheating on her. And on February 14th, 1995, that would be a part of the reason why they began to argue. So on this day, Ray was supposed to go out and get chicken for the family, to cook for the family. Sally had given him a price quote of what she wanted him to spend because, she was the only one really bringing in money. And he was like, fine, that's fine. So he went out and he was supposed to be home pretty quickly. However, it took hours for him to get back home. Once he got back home, Sally questioned where he had been. She accused him of being with his mistress, and he had also bought more expensive chicken. Now, this angered her because, of course, she was the only one paying for everything, and I guess she felt like he did this on purpose, knowing that the burden was on her. So, coupled with the fact that he did go see his mistress on Valentine's Day, he did buy the expensive chicken, she began to kind of verbally attack him by saying, she knew he had an upcoming show, by saying he wasn't good enough, he wouldn't place, he wouldn't win, he looked scrawny. So, this turned into, a violent situation. So, during the argument, Sally said that Ray began to attack her, and she was able to get away from the assault, go into her bedroom and grab her weapon. When she went back out into the kitchen, Ray was actually fixing the dinner for the family, and she fired at him once, hitting him in the abdomen. She says that Ray got up and tried to charge at her, and she fired again, hitting him in the jaw. After the incident, Sally called 911 and told them that she had fired at her husband because he was attacking her. Ray could be heard in the back of the 911 call saying he didn't feel good and asking Sally, "Why did you fire at me?" And Sally responded, "I told you I wasn't taking your SHIT anymore." When police arrived, they found Ray on his hands and knees. His jaw was shattered and his liver was seen in his abdomen. He also denied attacking his wife. He was pretty conscious and able to respond. However, when he was rushed to the Memorial Hospital nearby, he passed away. Once at the police station, Sally was informed that her husband did pass away and she was being charged for it. But during the trial, things would come out about Sally and her own aggression. Per her son, John, Sally had actually beat up a man that slapped John after John and the man's son had actually got into a fight. So in the Netflix series, you'll hear him say, his mom walked up to the guy's door, knocked on the door, and as soon as the guy opened the door, Sally just went in on him like he didn't even have a chance to even react. So we will finish up in part 3. So here we are to part 3. So John would also mention that he saw the cops being called to his mother's house, and she actually was so aggressive that it took 5 officers to actually pin her down and finally handcuff her. A friend of the couple claimed that Sally dropped barbells on Ray's car while Ray was actually inside. Lastly, Sally had several infractions while in the military for fighting. And in 1990, Sally was accused of pointing a weapon at her ex-husband, who was the father of her 2 children. Despite this, others believe that Sally was indeed a victim of DV, and one of Sally's friends noticed bruises and marks on her, which she believed Ray caused. There was also allegations of SA by Ray. So here's an account of Ray's own aggression. While he worked at a bouncer, he apparently got mad at this man and pushed his thumbs through the man's eyes, which led to the man being blinded. Sally's children say they witnessed Ray being very, aggressive towards their mother, which resulted in, marks and broken bones and things like that. And John even says that Ray was aggressive towards the children. However, prosecutors believe that the scratch marks found on Sally's neck was self-inflicted. They said the Ray's nails were short and there was no DNA under his nails. The prosecution also found a spent shell casing in the couple's bedroom, which refutes Sally's claims that she reloaded in the kitchen. There was also speculation on whether Ray actually charged Sally or was he laying on the ground when she fired a second time. Sally's daughter would actually get on the stand and say that night that she did hear her mom being assaulted. So with all that testimony, Sally was convicted of second degree and sentenced to 19 years to life. She was eventually paroled after 25 years. So here is kind of like what I believe. I believe that the relationship was toxic, and this is what led to Ray's demise. I am unsure if Ray was the initial aggressor and Sally began to, fight back so that so she wouldn't just sit there and take it, or if they were equally violent towards each other. I think that the night of the incident, Sally had had enough of the DV and his infidelities, and that, she just got fed up. And after that argument, it really lit a fuse that probably otherwise wouldn't have been there had this not been going on for so long. I also believe that Sally may have won her case if she had not reloaded and fired a second time. So, of course, this isn't the full story. You can watch it on Netflix. But from what you heard so far, who do you believe? And does the abused have the right to, end the life of their abusers? May Ray rest in peace.